Hi everyone. In these slides we will be covering Spirogyra conjugation. Before we get into what conjugation is, let's just have a quick look at what Spirogyra looks like. So what you see here is a filamentous green alga. So when we say filamentous, it's hair-like, and if you actually see Spirogyra in nature, it will look like very thin, fine green hair. Okay, but up close, this is what it looks like. This is probably one of the more recognizable organisms that you will see this entire semester. What makes Spirogyra instantly recognizable are the spirally arranged chloroplasts. So if you look in each individual filament, you will see what looks like green coils all up and down the filament. So once again, those are the spirally arranged chloroplasts, hence the name Spirogyra. Okay, now let's get into what conjugation is. You can pause this presentation at any point and read through this at your leisure. But keep in mind, as we go through the slides, just pay attention to this final question because this is important. So what is the ploidy of a Spirogyra filament? So try to see if you can figure it out as we're going through the slides. And when we talk about ploidy, we're talking about if something is diploid or haploid. Okay, so what you see here is how conjugation begins. So you have the formation of conjugation tubes. Keep an eye out for two white circles to show you where they are. Okay, so those are the conjugation tubes. On the top, you have, I'm just going to draw the symbols for male and then female. Okay, so on the top you have the so-called male filament, and then on the bottom you have the so-called female filament. So what happens here is that they meet up, they exchange information. Okay, that's how the conjugation tubes, think of the conjugation tubes that way. So, you know, when you meet somebody, you might shake hands, you exchange information. So what's happening here is that the contents of the male filament are traveling through the conjugation tubes into the female filament, and then eventually the male filament will disintegrate. Okay, so this is what happens after the contents travel from one tube to the other. So you are seeing the beginning of the formation of diploid zygospores. So right there, that's an important piece of information. So after the contents travel from one filament to another, you have the production of diploid zygospores. This is the only diploid stage of the entire life cycle. What happens here is when conditions are right, the zygospore will undergo meiosis and form 4 haploid spores. 3 of those spores will disintegrate, while the remaining 1 will grow into a brand new filament, like what we saw at the beginning of the presentation and here once again. So you are looking at many individual filaments, but each of these filaments grew from one individual haploid spore. So that answers the question in that previous slide, in one of the previous slides. Every time you look at a Spirogyra filament, you are looking at a haploid organism. So once again, you have haploid filaments and diploid zygospores. All right, and that is conjugation there for you. Once again, that is the process by which sexual reproduction in Spirogyra occurs. And there you have it.